Hello, team leaders and doctors. I got Stacy behind the scenes here doing a little camera action. I know I talked to you all in regards to Project 500. You know, how do we increase 500 a day? Some of you, it might be 500, some might 700, some might be 300, whatever it is. The whole idea is how do we grow to our goal? That's the key aspect. We all know expenses are increasing and all that crazy stuff. That's not what I'm here to talk to you about. I'm here to talk to you about how do we actually grow your practices and how can we support you in that. I've had a lot of discussions with people in there. The number one thing that you can do, the number one thing that I want to talk about today is morning huddle. Why? Because the why behind that is if you are not growing, you are dying. I think we can all agree on that. That is in regards to the way that we practice dentistry. That is in how we're treating patients. If you are not growing, you are dying. But a lot of people have asked, well, Dr. Cerno, 500 a day, great. How do I do that? How do I continue to move through there? And the first thing I can tell everybody is that you have to measure, because that what you're not measuring, that's not what you're growing. I'm gonna move over here. You can see right here, number one aspect, the goal is to grow. If today you are scheduled for 4,000, I don't care what your goal is. If you're scheduled to go, if you're scheduled over to go, the whole deal is how do I grow today? Yeah, but Dr. Cerno, I was at goal today. You don't know what tomorrow brings. You could have a cancellation tomorrow at the end of the day and you don't know how to fill it. The question is today, if you're scheduled to goal, you want to know today how you're going to better it. If you're not scheduled to goal, how are you going to get to goal? How are you going to move? If you're not growing, you're dying. A key phrase key formula for me is people plus systems equal a successful business. People, team members, and patients. Our team members and patients are our number one aspect. We want to make sure they're being taken care of. D1 diagram, the systems. It creates consistency. Consistency makes patients and team members feel better. That goes back to people. And then you get the successful business. Well, Dr. Cerno, growth, that's only about us increasing our business and increasing revenue. No, you are not a successful business, then you are not people first. If you are not business focused, you are not people first. Why? Because a non-successful business means that team members are part of something that's not growing and patients are not part of something growing. As I said, team members and patients want to be a part of that. So you have to be business focused. It's very important. So how do you know if you're growing? Well, you only know if you're growing if you measure. Just like I've been measured my entire life, dental school, after school, all those things. You have to measure to know if people want your product. They want to know if they're happy coming to your office. You want to measure all those things. So how do you measure? Well, number one aspect, everybody, it is the morning huddle. Nobody has been able to prove that for me. Morning huddle is one of the most important aspects for us to be able to determine and measure how we're doing. We have a second thing that we want to include at the morning huddle. That is the standard of care scorecard. Again, what is that doing? That's measuring our clinical side. How are we doing clinically? Probably one of the most important things that I've been a part of in my career. To be able to look at a sheet and say, how did I do clinically for my patients? Because that's what I got into this field for. I want to take care of people and I want to take care of them well. But I have to measure if I'm actually doing that well. So that's the standard of care scorecard. And then of course the morning huddle, okay? So what I see, and I do think it's a part, morning huddle, standard of care scorecard, I do think going over the schedule is a good thing at your morning huddle. What I don't think is a good thing is grabbing the schedule and having a monotonous morning huddle. And so people always say to me, Dr. Cerno, you know what? The doctor didn't show up for morning huddle. My dental assistant didn't show up for morning huddle. These people were late because they're not valuing the morning huddle. The morning huddle is literally your recipe to making the day better. Walking out that day and going, man, it was a good day. We bettered it. It was a good day. The morning huddle is that recipe. That's what it's there for. It is not there to go, Mrs. Jones needs a crown. Mrs. Jones needs x-rays. Can somebody help me here? That is not what this is for. What this is for is for us to measure this and to help continue growth. So I say growth. we want to add 500 a day, project 500. We're going to go through the schedule. I want to know emergency time. Why? Because I want to get somebody in. I want to help people. That's what I got in this business for. And by the way, if I help more people, if I help somebody in an emergency time, guess what? I'm going to get to goal. If I don't want to run late, I want to go through here and I want to say, hey, listen, I want to hear from the hygienist. These two patients back to back, I'm going to need full mouth x-rays on. Can somebody help me in here so I don't run late? Why don't you want to run late? Because if you run late, then we're not going to get to our goal. So we're not running late. Where can we go through here and walk through it? Same day treatment. I want to know outstanding treatment on here. I want to make sure that my team member or that my patients that are coming in today, they have a signed treatment plan. That's why auditing is so important the night before. You're preparing for the day to have a great day. I want to know where I can do same day treatment. And by the way, if you're in my office, when can you do same day treatment? Anytime. Anytime you can. Why? Because I want to be there for the patient. I want to take care of the patient when they want to. And then of course, win. What's important now? WIN, fill the schedule. Cancellations, changes in the schedule are always going to occur, everybody. It's just going to happen in dentistry. And no matter if you're in the best of times or the worst of times, filling a schedule is the most important aspect. This right here can determine whether you're going to grow the day or not. So I want to be very clear on the expectation. If your day started at $4,000 and you ended up at $3,200, that is bad. 4,000, you ended at 4,700, celebrate the heck out of that. You want to get to your goal, everybody. That is the key. How did I better today and get to my goal? If you can do that, you are going to create an atmosphere where people, team member and patients love to come. It's a thriving area. You're going to do it through systems. That's what you're going through the morning huddle. You're going over your systems. You're making sure there's no chaos. And then, of course, you're going to have a successful business. And that's what we're all here for. If you're not business focused, you're not people first. So the next part here is I'm going to be going over exactly what our expectations are, filling out the morning huddle and going through that. Hey team, all right, we're going to go over a morning huddle. I'm going to actually go over the morning huddle sheet and exactly what the why behind what we do. Of course, we talk about people first, as I was talking about. People is about having our patients and our team members have a good experience. We want to go over from yesterday, okay? If you look at your morning huddle sheet, the top half is yesterday, the middle half is today, and the bottom half is tomorrow. What did we do yesterday? How do we prepare today? And how do we make tomorrow better? So yesterday, we want to learn from it. We want to learn what positive moments and what negative moments came. I'm hoping I'm in a morning huddle setting and I'm asking the questions out there. I'm saying, what are the positive moments? What are the negative moments? I want to hear from people. Okay? I don't want one person only talking at a morning huddle. Once we move from there, I move to the upper right hand of this sheet where it says this month's goal. So if this month's goal, I'm going to put down 100. I hope $100,000 this month, that's our goal. Percent to goal, where are we at today? Where are we at today? AJ, we are doing $30,000, so we're 30% to our goal. That's what you want to know. You want to know, where am I at to that goal right there? And if you're halfway through the month, you know, man, I'm behind. If you're first week in, you could go, man, I'm in a good spot, okay? We're going to get back to that in a second here. But then the next is production. Daily goal, again, our daily goal, let's say, is 4.5. And then it says actual versus actual. Well, our actual, I sure hope, is at our daily goal or more, of course, but sometimes it isn't. So let's just say it's 4,000, okay? Now the next below that, I think actually is probably one of the most important things that I look at every single day. I want to know plus and minus. What does plus and minus mean? Plus and minus means this. What was I scheduled for yesterday when the day started? I was at morning huddle and you guys told me, AJ, we're at 3.7 and we ended the day at 4. So I want to know, did we add or did we lose from the day before? If I see a minus here, I know yesterday was a bad day. That means we were scheduled for whatever amount and we lost money. And I want to know exactly how much we lost. We lost $3,000. We lost $300. We lost whatever it is. I want to see minus and then the loss. I hope I see pluses. Let's say plus. Let's be positive here. Plus 400. That means we started the day at 4,000 and we ended it at 4.4. Okay? So that is a positive day. We want to talk about that. Plus and minus, big deal, everybody. If you're not growing, you're dying. We want to see pluses on there. Now we move the no-shows, cancellations. Listen, you're always going to have them. You're always going to have them. What I want to know on the no-show cancellations is if we see like 2 no-shows, or gosh, I hope it's not 2 no-shows, 1 no-show, 2 cancellations. What we want to know then is, oh my gosh, we added $400 to the day. Imagine that. We lost 3 people, but we added 400. That, I want to celebrate that. I want to tell people you filled the schedule, you got same day treatment in, we got an emergency in, whatever we did, we made lemonade out of lemons. We lost 3 people and man, we added to the day. But if we lost 3 people and this was a minus up here, we minus the day, we did less, then I'm sitting here going, we let the obstacle of cancellations rule us yesterday. That's why we didn't grow. So that's very important, plus minus and the no-shows and cancellations, looking at those 2. And then of course I want to look at my collections, right? Everybody, you want 98% of collections. So you want to look at your month-to-date production versus your collections. That's all that is on the next thing. Okay, now we get into the nitty-gritty. Now I want to know how many treatment plans presented and how many were accepted. Why is that so important? Listen, everybody, this whole business and this whole thing of why we got into dentistry is we want to help people. Well, when I go and sit in a room and I go and diagnose somebody, I leave the room, we have to get them to accept treatment. Okay? Now, accepting treatment can go a couple different ways. I had 8 treatment plans presented and I had 6 accepted. Okay? Everybody knows you want 90% or greater, hopefully 95% acceptance walking out the door. That's the whole goal. So if you're looking at 6 out of 8, I want to know, man, why did the other 2 say no? That's what I want to go over at the morning huddle. Now we get into, and then we have aligners presented. I think clear aligners is a big deal. I think everybody, you cannot continue to do just basic dentistry. We have to be more than basic. We have to grow the field of dentistry. Clear aligners, implants, bone grafting, endo, all the adjuncts are very important to a patient's health. It's important that patients want to be there. I digress a little bit, but that's the whole idea of putting clear aligners on there. If you're seeing people diagnose malocclusion, that is on the standard of care scorecard. So you're at 6 out of 8. That's a bad day. You are not at 90%. I want to know why. I also want to know, how are we getting a hold of the 2 people that didn't schedule yesterday? Who's in charge of that? That's what I'm doing at my morning huddle. I want to know who of the 2 people or that didn't schedule yesterday, who is going to contact them today and say, hey, doctor is very concerned about your tooth. I know that he saw that you didn't schedule. He wants to know if you have any questions. In regards to this, everybody, the next step is, I just want to repeat this, we now are getting into the most important aspect of the morning huddle. It's right in the middle. Yesterday it says this month's scheduled plus actual, next month's scheduled. Let me explain this to everybody. Yesterday we did a morning huddle. And yesterday at the morning huddle, what we did was we added 2 numbers. Let's say it is July 10th. Let's just say. And on July 10th was yesterday. Today's July 11th. On July 10th, we actually, up to July 10th, we produced 30,000. If I look at the rest of the month, we have 60,000 on the books. Add those 2 numbers together, you get 90,000. Our computer system of Denticon allows us to do this. This is honestly one of the most important things that you can do on this morning huddle. So you have 90,000 on the books. People are scheduled for 90,000. We already said our goal is 100 up here. So that would determine to us we're $10,000 from our goal. Well, what does that mean? Well, that was yesterday. What's today? You had 6 treatment plans accepted, remember. What happens if today, now right underneath there, today, now we're at the next morning huddle. Yesterday we did $4,000, we said. Today, we look at the scheduled and actual, and let's say it says 86. That means we lost $4,000. So we scheduled plus the actual equaled 86. Yesterday it was 90, it's 86. We lost 4,000. That's really bad. Not a good place to be. You don't want to be losing on that. What you want to do is see this increase. If you're seeing this increase, that's good. Now, why do we look at next month over here? Okay, so it says next month scheduled. Next month scheduled. Because if I did 6 out of 8 treatment plans, and let's say it's 90,000 and I only did 92. So I added $2,000 more this month. But next month, let's say, was 50 and I'm at 55. That means I'm only 10 days into July and I'm adding more next month than this month. I want you all to look at this because the first question I always get is, Dr. Cerno, we have a lot of cancellations. We have people that aren't accepting treatment. We have all this stuff. How do we get to better our day? The first thing I tell everybody is this: look to your next month. I guarantee you have dollars in your next month where people said yes and they scheduled way out. One, they're not coming back in. I promise you, they scheduled out, they're gonna cancel. So trying to move those patients up to this month is the number one aspect to making your month better. What's important now, today? What's important now, this month? You wanna take from next month, move it to this month. Get people healthy, get them in sooner. So again, I'm gonna say, scheduled actual yesterday, 90. How do you do that? What did you actually do plus what's scheduled the rest of the month? Today, what did you actually do? What did you schedule the rest of the month? If you have treatment plans accepted, which I hope everybody does, then this number this month should be going up. The only time that next month's numbers go up before this month is the last week of the month. Last week of the month, you should be scheduling more into next month than this month. By the way, I get this question a lot. You should be scheduled for 70% or more by the time the first of the month comes in. So you should be scheduled 70% to your goal. 70% to your goal by the first of the month. If you're 50%, that's okay. You just got a lot of work to do that month. You got to get people to accept treatment and bring in. Okay? So that's why I look at scheduled to actual so heavy. I want to know, am I accepting treatment above it? And then where did that treatment get put in? Is it this month, next month, or even in the future months? I want to know this month. Did they accept this month? Are they getting in? The next is about recare. Openings, hygiene openings. I actually make everybody count hygiene openings. I want to know that. I want to know how many openings we have this month. And then today, I want to know how many openings we have this month. So if we had yesterday 50 openings, I want to know that today we only have 40. That means I know people have worked on recare and they're getting people back in. That's very important also. And then, of course, how do we make today better? Again, I told you, emergency time, don't run late, same day treatment, fill your schedule. Those are all key aspects that we want to do. So then we get into tomorrow. Of course, I only want to know this. I spend very little time on this in my schedule. I want to know everybody. Tomorrow we're scheduled for 2,500. We want to get to 4,000. We got some work to do tomorrow, or we got a couple of holes. But again, what's important now? Today. That's why I go over tomorrow really quickly. I want to know today how we're going to better it. That's why when we say, how can we make today better, the one right above that, I spend the most time there. That's when we're going through the schedule. That's when we're going through emergency time. That's when we're going through same day treatment. I want to know today how we're going to make the day better. I want to leave my office getting in my car going, man, it was a tough day, But man, we increased the day. We bettered people's lives today. It was a good day. We made it more. That is a benefit. That's why we do the morning huddle. I hope everybody doesn't have a monotonous one. Get your eyes out there. Get the people that make things exciting. I remember Cheryl, for me, that was the exciting. I'm not a morning person, so I'm not a good person to run morning huddle. I need somebody that with a little bit of energy and is going to drive this thing. So that is a key in the morning. Don't be showing up to something that is boring. Stop doing that. And don't say that, oh, I don't have to show up, therefore we don't have to do it. There is not a successful dental practice in the United States that doesn't do a morning huddle. I've heard, well, we do talk. We go over some things. Doctor and I, we go over some things, but we do it the day before. Well, it's just you two doing it. No, you got to get the whole team to do it. Some people will say, well, doctor doesn't even show up. Well, find out from the doctor, or find out from a team member that doesn't come why they don't want to come. They don't value it. How do we make a huddle valued to everybody? I don't know anybody that's like, oh, it's a good thing. I want to go to the office today and have chaos. Nobody wants that. That's why a morning huddle is important. Decreases chaos on there. So let me know. I'm open. I'm happy to help in any morning huddles. Again, it's the most important aspect. I care about everybody. Thanks for all you do.